Hello everyone, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good day to every one of you. Welcome to my video. So basically this is a continuation of a lecture video for a chapter of Transformer. So my name is Dr. Nur Zulaili binti Muhammad and here is my email address. So you can just feel free to email me whenever you have a question regarding the content of this video. Alright, so let's move to the next slides where we are going to see what are the list of contents that we are going to go through in this video. So basically in this video we are going to see the topics on Phasor diagram. Okay, and then in this video we are going to learn on how to draw the Phasor diagram for each of the load condition for the transformer. Okay, so let's move to the topics of Phasor diagram. Okay, so basically for the Phasor diagram, there are three different type of Phasor diagram and it is depending on the load condition. Okay, so the first of all is a power factor lagging condition. Okay, so for the power factor lagging condition, usually the voltage regulation have a positive value, and then in this case, the I2 prime will lags the V2 prime by theta 2, okay, because I2 is lagging the V2, so that's why we set it as a power factor lagging. Okay, so in this case you see the I2 prime here, I2 prime lagging the V2 prime by the theta 2 degree. Okay, alright, and then the second condition is a power factor leading condition. Okay, so in this case usually the voltage regulation has a negative value, and then the I2 prime will leads the V2 prime by theta 2. Okay, so that's why we call it as a power factor leading. Okay, because the I2 prime leads the V2 prime by theta 2. Alright, okay, so the third condition will be the unity power factor load. Okay, so in this case, the voltage regulation has a positive value as well. Okay, and then the I2 prime is in phase with V2 prime. Okay, so now you have a I2 prime has a same phase with the V2 prime. Okay, alright, so that's why we call it as a unity power factor load. Okay, so basically all these three Phasor diagram represents the Phasor diagram for a transformer circuit that referred to primary side. Okay, alright, and then in the next slide, we are going to see the step-by-step on how to draw the Phasor diagram. Okay, so now in this slide, we will see on step-by-step on how to draw a Phasor diagram for a lagging condition. Okay, so again, the transformer circuit will be referred to the primary side. Alright, okay, so step number 1, okay, first of all, you need to draw the V2 prime first. Okay, so usually the V2 prime, we assume it has a zero phase. Okay, so you draw the V2 prime. Okay, and then next you draw the I2 prime. Okay, so the I2 prime here will be depends on the power factor condition. Okay, so in this case you have a lagging condition, so the I2 prime will be lags the V2 prime. So that's why your I2 prime is located here. Okay, and then step number 3, you need to draw the I2 prime multiply with R equivalent. Okay, so the I2 prime multiply with R equivalent usually has a parallel, is parallel with the I2 prime. Okay, so you just draw it here. And then step number 4, you need to draw the I2 prime multiply with X equivalent. Okay, so usually this phasor is perpendicular with the I2 prime multiply with R equivalent. Okay, and then it will separated by 90 degree here. Okay, so finally you can draw your V1. Okay, so for V1, starting from the 0 here until the ends of the I2 prime of X equivalent. Alright, okay, so this is how you draw the Phasor diagram for a lagging condition. Next, we will see on how to draw the Phasor diagram for a leading condition. Okay, so the step-by-step is step number 1, same as in the previous step. You need to draw the V2 prime first as your reference. Okay, so you draw the V2 prime, and then next you can draw your I2 prime, and then the I2 prime will be depending on the power factor condition. So usually for the leading condition, meaning that the I2 will leads the V2 prime. So that's why the I2 is located here. Okay, and then once you draw your I2 prime, then you can draw the I2 prime multiplied with R equivalent 1, where the I2 prime multiplied with R equivalent 1 is parallel with the I2 prime. Okay, so here and here is parallel. Parallel meaning that it has a same phase. Okay, alright, same angle. And then step number 4, you can draw the I2 prime multiplied with X equivalent, where this thing is perpendicular with this. Okay, so the I2 prime multiplied with X equivalent will be perpendicular to the I2 prime multiplied with R equivalent. Okay, so finally you can draw your V1. Okay, this is your final V1. Alright. Okay, and then for the third Phasor diagram will be your power factor unity. Okay, so same thing. Step number 1, you draw the V2 prime first. Okay, and then once you get your V2 prime, you draw your I2 prime. Okay, so again, the I2 prime will be depends on the power factor condition. So for the unity power factor condition, the I2 prime will be in phase with V2 prime. So that's why you have the I2 prime will be have a same angle with the V2 prime. Okay, and then once you have your I2 prime, then you can draw your I2 prime multiplied with R equivalent 1. Okay, again, it is parallel with the I2 prime, so that's why it has a same angle here. Okay, and then after that, you can draw your I2 prime multiplied with X equivalent. Okay, so here and here has a perpendicular. Okay, it has a 90-degree angle here. Okay, then finally, you can draw your V1. Okay, from this point to the end of the I2 prime multiplied with X equivalent 1. Alright, so this is the Phasor diagram for the unity power factor type. Okay, alright. So let's move to the next slide where we are going to see an example on how to solve the transformer circuit problem, and then you need to draw the Phasor diagram for the transformer circuit. Okay, so basically the question here is same as per example in the previous video. Okay, and then we had solved the question A and B in the previous video. In this video, we are going to solve for question C, where we need to draw the Phasor diagram for a condition B1 and B2. Okay, B1 here meaning that you need to draw the Phasor diagram for a case that your load is in 0.6 power factor lagging, and then after that you need to redraw your Phasor diagram for a case of a load is in 0.6 power factor leading. Okay, alright. So let's move to the step-by-step on how to draw the Phasor diagram. Okay, first of all, we see on how to draw the Phasor diagram when your load condition is in 0.6 power factor lagging. Okay, so the first step, you need to draw your V2. Since in this question, it does not mention whether you need to refer to the primary side or to the secondary side, so we just assume that we refer it to the secondary side. Okay, so first you draw the V2, and then after that, you draw your I2. Okay, so the I2 in this condition, because it is a lagging condition, so that's why the I2 lags the V2, right? And after that, we can draw the R equivalent 2 multiplied with I2, where this phasor is in parallel with the I2. It has a same angle, so that's why here you draw the R equivalent 2 multiplied with I2. And then after that, you can draw your X equivalent 2 multiplied with I2, where it is perpendicular, meaning that it has a 90-degree separation here. And then finally, you can draw your V1 prime. Okay, so the V1 prime will be equal to V1 divided by A, because where your A is a turns ratio. Okay, so this is how you draw the Phasor diagram. Alright, and then next we will see on how to draw the Phasor diagram for a case of 0.6 power factor leading condition. Okay, so same thing. First step, you need to draw the V2 first. Okay, once you draw the V2, then you draw the I2. Okay, in this case, I2 leads the V2. Alright, and then after that, you draw the R equivalent 2 multiplied with I2, where it is in parallel with I2. And then you can draw the Jx equivalent to multiply with I2, where it is perpendicular with the R equivalent to multiply with I2. Okay. Finally, you can draw your V1 prime. Okay. Where your V1 prime is equal to V1 divided by A. Alright. So, that's all. That is how you draw the Phasor diagram for a transformer circuit. Okay. So, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching my video. I'll see you in my next video. Okay. Bye.